I'll need to go back to this episode and have a listen, because there is so much. You're sharing some very deep thoughts. Yeah. And let's talk a little bit about the pioneering dimension of a leader, because we are talking about a kind of Moses who can you imagine how is it? It would have been easy for Moses to just retreat and decide all the pressure. How is it possible? These people are just, they cannot even see the effort that I'm making. But he actually pressed in to formulate and invent a pathway in the midst of the many waters. So like a pioneer, the heart of a pioneer, that you're not only thinking about yourself. It takes courage to be a pioneer. It takes courage to actually formulate a system, a meaningful system that other people may even oppose. But you discovered a possibility in the Lord, because these matters were hidden for you to discover. It's a new discovery. So for a pioneering leader, and I ask you this because, and I've told you this before, I have known you to be someone that it takes courage and authenticity, a level of authenticity, to go against the grain, because at the very beginning, people will not recognize your effort. But as you progress, that's when they will see, wait, goodness, because you know what you sow. It takes conviction again, which also is formed in the place of the process that goes into the making of a leader. So talk to us a little bit about the pioneering dimension of a leader.
Wow, all right. Okay, so to pioneer, essentially, is to walk a new path.
Yeah,
and just like you've rightly defined it, it's the path is not essentially new to God, but it is new to you, right? Because there are still very many things that are discoverable to God. Now, if you are going to pioneering innovation, things like that, if you're going to if there are new paths to walk, then the Bible says an old wineskin cannot hold a new wine. There has to be the transformation of the person first, in terms of the person, which still goes back to the process of the entire process I have given. But in terms of pioneering and bringing in something new, one of the most important things, you have to be okay to be misunderstood. Because for most people who are pioneering, they're speaking things beyond their generation. Imagine Steve Jobs, 1980, talking about Apple and the internet.
Yeah.
Man, they would say you're a mad person. I can talk to someone from the United States here in Kenya, or I can speak from Burundi to Yugoslavia. You're mad. They would have said that. And for most people, you have to be okay to be misunderstood. You have to be okay to be misunderstood. You look at the most transformative leaders, and this is the price of, if you really want transformative leadership, not fame-based, not to become an influencer. No, if you want transformational leadership, for most transformational leaders who have existed on earth, while they were doing their assignment, they were not celebrated. None of them. We look at Jesus, we look at Martin Luther King Jr., we look at Mahatma Gandhi. He was even killed with his people for suggesting that the minority should lead over the majority, for there to be equality. For most of those people, their celebration is in hindsight, not in the present. So if you're looking for celebration in the present, number one, you're not a transformational leader. Let's define that for you to know that what you're looking for is for your fame. You are rising. Essentially, you're trying to serve yourself, not the vision of God for your life. Let that be known. And that is why, for most politicians, that's where they fall. But they're looking for 10 years to get a bit of public funds and raise themselves in status. But they're really not looking to cause transformation in the future at the expense of being misunderstood now. That's not what they're looking to do. So you have to be okay if you're going to pioneer anything, and if you're going to partner with God to birth something new that people have not experienced before. Be okay to be misunderstood.
Yeah.
Be okay for you to have people beyond haters. Be okay to break the status quo. You see, like the statements I can say, the statement I just said that governments are not meant to succeed. That statement is entirely true. But you see, it can lead me to be misunderstood, and it's okay.
Yeah, I know you to be a
it doesn't change the fact that statement is true.
This is true.
Yeah. that essentially the system of government and how it is created was not created to succeed. It was created to be a tool to birth something that would succeed. So it's, what I'm saying, what I'm not trying to say is we should ignore government. That's not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to say is, based on God's perspective, we should use it for its purpose. Its intended purpose was not for it to become eternal. A Christian's perspective, a Christian supply, essentially the supply of a human being's life should not be coming from government. A human being is not created to be supplied from government. It's created to get a supply beyond government. You see, now when I say things like that, how? No, maybe you are too spiritual. Maybe, study history. You will find out. You'll find out how many governments. There was the Roman government, world government. Right now, there's talk of world government. So there's something called BRICS, right? Before BRICS, there was NATO. Before NATO, the European Union. Before that, there's the Roman Empire. Before that, Alexander the Great and all that, people who wanted a world, none of them succeeded.
Yeah.
If history has taught you anything, it has taught you that world powers they are not created to succeed. They can only exist within a particular period of time. Now, you would call that history. I would call that scripture, because Daniel said that, I looked, he had a vision, and he said, then there was a creature. And then it had a head of gold, feet of bronze, all that. It was broken down. Talking about the government of the world by the kingdom of God.
Mm-hmm.
So already, you can call that history, but scripture reveals it expressly.
Yeah.
People like Nebuchadnezzar, they wanted to rule the entire world, to become leaders of the world and continue that eternally. But because of the foundation on which that was built, it could only exist for a particular period of time.
Yeah.
You understand? So again, the question is, what is our generation looking for? For most of us, and even in the Christian circle, we're really just looking to become celebrities. To be celebrated for a few things we know, for a few things we've done, for a little bit of money we've given, for a little bit of donation we do. We're really looking to be celebrated. We are not looking for transformational leadership. We're not willing to be misunderstood. We're not willing to be misfits. We're not willing to... And because of that lack of unwillingness, I think that can be traced back to lack of encounters. We have not encountered God enough to be willing to be misunderstood.
Yeah. The conviction.
Yeah, it's not there. It's not there. There's a lack of... There are very many people dressed in suits, marketing encounters that they did not have.
No.
Yeah, their marketing encounters they did not have.
Yeah. Perhaps they had it from somewhere.
And
because it is a popular thing, so
let's do it.
The trend, yeah.
Essentially, Christianity, and we're talking about kingdom and kingdom influence. We were not created to follow trends. We were created to create trends.
We are trailblazers.
Yeah. We are the ones who create those trends. We are the ones who create those trends.
Then inspire the world.
Exactly. That is our work.
Yeah.
So the problem is Psalm chapter 82. That is the problem. The Christian problem is a wisdom problem. The problem is those who are meant to be deliverers are the ones who are going for deliverance.
Mm-hmm.
It is such a... It says, I have seen an era on earth that servants are riding on horses and kings are walking on foot.
Yeah.
That is the problem. Yeah. But that is the problem in terms of the vision, what you see. Mm-hmm. But in terms of the background, what is the result of that problem? It is a wisdom issue.
Yeah. That's true.
It is a wisdom issue. People have not, those who are supposed to lead, don't even see themselves as lead. They see themselves as victims. Mm-hmm. And I kept on saying this. When you introduce a concept that people will misunderstand, it will bring about a lot of persecution. It will bring about a lot of bad energy from people. It will people will try to bring you down because of essentially that concept. Mm-hmm. And maybe not even that concept alone, but people who know what that concept might destabilize, that will make them very uncomfortable. And they will fight back.
Yeah.
But you see, this is the thing about transformational leadership, and why it is rooted in God, is that you can become a victim, but you will not be victimized.
Yeah.
Those two things are very different. Becoming a victim is having things directed at you for what you represent. Mm-hmm. Becoming victimized is those things overtaking you. Mm-hmm. They will be directed at you, they will not overtake you. And you look at leaders, the picture of discipleship is what Jesus did to his disciples. That Jesus first, he was a victim but not victimized, meaning when they wanted to kill him, they could not.
Yeah.
They used to want to stone him, he used to walk through them.
Yeah.
You understand? So he was a victim of persecution, not victimized. And that translated to his disciples.
Yeah.
They went and put John in a pot of boiling oil. He could not be victimized.
Yeah.
It could not, he was a victim. He could not be victimized.
Yeah.
You understand? That's what discipleship does. That's what mentorship does. Whatever discipleship, mentorship, coaching, let nothing deceive us. You look at the greatest earners, the people who earn greatest in the world amount of money, even in sports. The one consistent thing is that they all have coaches. And you know the sacrifice of the coach? For most people who earn like mega money, their coaches earn way less than them. So you see, the reward of the coach is not really the money. The reward of the coach is the change.
Yeah.
So we need to have coaches who are looking for change more than they're looking for the money.
Yeah.
The reward of the coach is for the transformation of the person.
Yeah.
So that's how we need to look at change in terms of if you're going to pioneer anything. That we need to be willing to be misunderstood for as much as long as it takes. Number two, we need to be willing to essentially go through the process of transformation ourselves.
Yeah.
And be fine with, if you're going to have 33 years of being misunderstood like Jesus, and then a whole lifetime of people now searching for that understanding.
Yeah.
One last thing about pioneering leadership and new things is this. It took Jesus 30 years to prepare for a 3-year ministry. That is patience.
Yeah.
It is patience of the highest degree. That your greatest asset as a leader is going to be your patience. Number one, your patience with yourself in terms of growth. But secondly, your patience with people. You remember when you were saying sometimes you want to share a vision and it feels like the people are not getting it.
Yeah.
That can be very disheartening to a leader. Very. It's one of the things that really brings down leaders. When you can see a vision and the people you want to lead there cannot see it.
Yeah.
Like Moses talking about Egypt, them they're saying, you have made Pharaoh others work. May God punish you. Him is talking about freedom. You guys are talking about more labor. You're in totally different areas.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
That can really put down a leader. And one of the antidotes to that is patience. Be patient with yourself to grow into it.
Yeah.
Don't fake the growth. Be patient to grow. One of my good friends, Pastor Emmanuel Favor, wrote a book called Building Capacity.
Shout out to him. He's going to watch.
Yeah, shout out to him. He wrote a book called Building Capacity. And he says, don't fake capacity. Build it.
Yeah.
Don't fake what you can build, essentially. If it can be built, don't fake what can be true. When the only price you need to pay is patience, time.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to be patient with yourself, number one, in terms of your growth process. And the more you learn how to be patient with yourself, you're going to learn how to be patient with other people in their preparation. You're going to learn that because you didn't get leadership in one day, they might not know how to follow you in one day. You're going to learn how to have a communication system that is not dependent on people's understanding. You're going to have to learn how to communicate things beyond people's understanding and be okay with that.
Yeah.
So that, because progress is not just dependent on understanding. You see, it's why the kind of communication I'm talking about here is very special. If progress of a message was only dependent on the recipient understanding that message, how can you raise a dead body? A dead body is raised absent of understanding. They don't need to understand your words. They do not need to understand it. So you're going to have to learn how to speak beyond their understanding. So that even if you've introduced a concept and they've not learned it, the more you admonish them, then it will settle in their hearts, then they will grow. I can even tell you, some of these systems in terms of patterns of building have not even been instituted in some of our kingdom setups. We're very impatient. We want to become the next big thing.
Yeah.
And we take that at the cost of eternal change. Really the sacrifice that it takes.
Yeah.
Because the sacrifice it takes is not flamboyant. It's not something someone would look at and admire.
Yeah.
The background work is breaking. It will break you.
Yeah.
And by it will break you, I'm not necessarily even talking about physical effort. I'm talking about it will break your idea of self. Because there are things people think they are doing on behalf of God. There are things people think they are doing, visions they have. They think that they are God visions and they are not. They are only serving themselves.
Yeah.
And when you go through that process, it will break you to know you have been serving yourself all this time. To push that aside and then actually now serve God for the transformation of people.
Yeah.
That's serve God for the transformation of people. Serve God for the transformation of people. That's for the transformation of people ultimately.
Wow.
That's what I call pioneering. That's what I call trailblazing. That kind of spirit, the kind of spirit Caleb had when he said, give me this mountain. How can you say, give me this mountain? You have walked with these people for 40 years. They should give you a plane. You want another challenge.
Yeah.
Why do you want another challenge? You should tell them, young people should take the mountains. Me, I will take the plane. And the mountain, by the way, was full of warriors.
Yeah, it's true.
That's the point. Do you know the areas you're going to be led by God to lead and to influence? They're not empty spaces. They're spaces with people. The Israelites were not led to Canaan because it was empty. It had inhabitants. Exactly. Yeah. So what is changing? What is changing is not just that you're kicking out the inhabitants, because that's not how God thinks. It's that you're instituting a new system.
Yeah, that can overrule.
It's the system, not the dominance of other people.
Yeah.
So you see how we've looked at leadership, dominance of our people.
Yeah.
What you're going to change is the system of operation.
Yeah.
And newsflash, you don't have to become the center of the system. Yeah. Which is why it's not about you. You don't have to. Everyone wants to build a brand. Everyone thinks about influence in terms of, I want a brand. My face needs to be there. Everyone is a personal brand. Let me tell you, that kind of knowledge has a limit.
And that's why it becomes sustainable, because now other people can actually...
Exactly. It's not you. The brand is not you.
Yeah.
You have been able to replicate something, and not just you. You've been able to replicate a system into other people so that they can operate and become productive, even when you're in the background, and you're fine with that.
Yeah. Wow. That's so powerful.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so powerful. It is not about a persona. It's not built around a person. It's that this person can actually sacrifice, can actually postpone or even abandon their interest.
Exactly. Abandon is actually the right word.
Yes, thank you so much. I mean, this has been a very amazing conversation. Thank you so much for sharing your input, bringing in your input. And I know that people have been really my audience. Thank you so much for watching. Please, if people would love to engage with your content, where can they find you? Please.
All right. First of all, I have a YouTube page, Arnold the Mouthpiece. There's a lot of poetry there. Arnold the Mouthpiece. You can find me there. But more than that, on Spotify, The Restoration Mandate. You can just Google that, The Restoration Mandate on Spotify. You can contact me there. Instagram, Facebook, Arnold the Mouthpiece. Arnold the Mouthpiece Instagram, Arnold the Mouthpiece Facebook, Arnold the Mouthpiece TikTok, Charles Arnold on LinkedIn. But yeah, that is where you can find me.
Arnold the Mouthpiece. Yeah. Thank you so much. I'm really honored to have you on the show. I tell you, Charles is one of the people that have been very instrumental to my growth, and one of the friends that have really added value to my life.